host this evening, Frankie-Rose Taylor! Hello everyone, how are we? Good. Thank you so much for coming. It's a bit loud now. It's good?
A little loud.
Good. So this is our third ever Comedy Ultra now, which is really exciting. It's lovely to have you all here for it. So how it's going to work is I'm going to chat shit to you for a while, then I'm going to go through the rules of the night, we're going to do a bit of a warm-up, and then we're going to have some absolutely amazing comedians for you. Does that all sound good?
Yeah.
So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about me. So my name's Frankie, and in my spare time I'm a candidate for election for the Green Party. Thank you. Usually when I say that on stage though, it sounds like I've got a kind of like quirky hobby, but the more time goes on, it's sounding more and more like a really ill-advised career move. So I first stood for election for the Green Party about 3 or 4 years ago now, and at the time I think it's fair to say it's not really the direction my friends saw my life heading in. You know, I got a few interesting comments, stuff like, Frankie, I know you want to help the homeless, but are they really going to let you into the Palace of Westminster dressed like you are? Rude, right? I mean, obviously I've spruced myself up to come down here this evening, but I do generally have a fashion sense that's been described by a number of critics as a bit big issue. I'm pretty sure you're only part of the Green Party because of the amount of time you get to legitimately spend in the pub while campaigning. Is that really a skill transferable to political office? To which I say, it's worked all right for Nigel Farage, hasn't it? I mean, and he's had a good run. How many of your constituents do you have to have slept with before it starts counting as vote buying? Alright, that was actually quite a good point. So, a couple of years ago I was standing in this by-election campaign, and about the same time I was on a night out, started chatting to this bloke, was generally impressing him what outstanding member of society I am. We went back to mine and had what I perceived to be fairly mediocre sexual intercourse. But as he finishes, he pulls out, looks down at me and goes, Oh, I'd definitely vote for you after that. I mean, how do you respond to that? Like, if you like my vagina, you wait till you hear about my social housing policy. Oh, fantastic, just 2,469 left to go then. Even after that, I still came second. Real joke, yeah. I don't actually have many of those, so count them while you can. But you know, joking aside, joining the Green Party is probably one of the best decisions I ever made. You know, I really love it. There is just one thing I do have a problem with, and I always find it really hard to admit to on stage because it is quite controversial. But basically, my feelings are at best indifferent towards hummus. And it's basically the foundation of the entire political movement, right? So as a way of kind of trying to make amends, I've written a hummus-based joke and I thought I'd test it out on you lot before I put it in a campaign speech. So here it goes, the hummus-based joke. Did you hear about the vegan who died at the Green Party monthly meeting? Oh God, it was awful. The police are treating it as a homicide. No, not good, is it? No. Any Labour Party voters in? Well done, mate. You don't have to worry, by the way, I'm not YouGov. Like, you know, I didn't get a phone call earlier this afternoon like, hey, I hear the audience you're assembling for that weird fringe comedy night in the Labour Party pub. They sound like a good cross-section of society. Maybe try and get a bit of polling in. Like, anyway, Labour Party voters, this is for you. This is a poem about someone who's a hero for all of us, regardless of where on the left you stand. It's a poem about sex and socialism, and it's called Ode to Jeremy Corbyn. Many, not the few, you declare. Blue eyes, white hair, cheap suit, red tie. I really try to listen carefully to your address, but to my shame I must confess, my liberal mind, it does digress to thoughts of seeing you undress. Because cheap suits are easy to rip off, and when you talk of forcing toffs to pay more tax to fund our schools and NHS, I stare and draw. I hope you don't find this too forward, but I believe in direct action, and your socialist discourse gives me an insatiable attraction. So walk me across your lobby, pay my bus fare back to yours. I used to stand in solidarity, but you've got me on all fours. And it doesn't matter to me that you're Labour and I vote Green. we can work it out between your fair trade cotton sheets. And since for your latest manifesto you stole our policies, I can't help but fill my deficit inadequate apology. If you like our Robin Hood tax so much, I'll be your maid Marian. But the only thing I'm seizing is your means of production. You said you'd renew Trident, but maybe I could talk you round, whilst I disarm your nuclear weapon, occupy your middle ground. And your Clean Air Act is pointless if airports you expand instead, but will have no carbon footprint horizontal in your bed. So divide my legs like your backbenchers. I'll consent to your mandate if you restrict my freedom of movement, not that of those that immigrate. You might ask me why I write this. Well, frankly, nothing gets me wetter than the thought that one day the world might be just a tiny bit better. Thank you. Are we ready for some more acts? Yay! Okay, so I've got a really exciting array of acts for you tonight. I've got some people who maybe have done a handful of gigs, some that have done hundreds of gigs and are either trying some new material for you tonight, or maybe they just want a bit of practice for a bit of fun, but you have the most important job tonight, because you have to create the wonderful warm environment that these comedians can flourish in. So that means no talking during the acts, no heckling, no playing on your phone, basically no being a dick. Is everyone cool with not being a dick tonight? Yeah. Thank you very much. And so the other thing you have to do, a very important job of an audience, is to laugh really heartily at everyone you see and to do lots of cheering and lots of applause. So as a way of kind of warming you up for that, I prepared a bit of an exercise for everyone. So this is basically a list of scenarios that have happened in my life that required various amounts of applause. We're going to practice them all now and really get ourselves worked up for a proper comedy altar applause. Does that sound okay? Yeah. Okay, so the first one is the clap I gave the racist Elvis impersonator performing at my auntie's engagement party at the High Wycombe Golf Club. So that's a very slow clap. Get some taps like, oh. Stop. Cool, next one. The clap I gave my old manager, Pervy Pete, impressively average winning pot at the Canterbury Interpub Snooker Championship. So it was a good putt, but you're still a pervert. So you're like, yeah. Cool. Third one. The clap I gave the portly middle-aged Asian tourist I witnessed run and dive in front of the bride's family to catch her bouquet on the steps of the Sacré-Cœur. So this is a real sporting achievement now. That's going on. Cool. Last one. The last one is the clap you give the absolute legend who turns up at the hummus at the Green Party monthly meeting. So that's it. Can we do it all four together? Yeah. Can we? All right, so we're going from racist Elvis. We're going up to